What's up, y'all? Welcome to my channel. This is Epiphany Tanya. I want you to come on in. We're doing a live tonight. Yes, we're here. We're doing a live. So you saw the title. Democrats are protesting safe streets. It's safe to say that nothing's changed, even though I've been away for a long time, missed you guys. But Democrats are still at it. They're still at their shenanigans. They're still peddling nonsense. They're still pushing a narrative of their agenda. They still don't care about the American people. They still don't care about all the things that are true, right, and good. So we're going to do a little review. We're going to look and check out some news reports and clips about how the Democrats are protesting safe streets in DC. So come with me as I check it out. All right, so let's see what we got here. We're going to check out a couple of left-leaning woke news outlets, and we're going to see what they're talking about here. Let's talk about this nonsense on, I don't even know if I can deal with the morning Joe. Let's go here with this one first. So we'll do MSDNC first. Both of them are MSDNC, but let's hear this one.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it just by thinking about it.
Of course, we don't care about the ad, so we want to skip over that. Let's hear what they're
to Washington, D.C., effectively taking over the city's police department. Trump made that announcement yesterday, putting Attorney General Pam Bondi in charge. She called it, quote, Liberation Day for the nation's capital, amid claims that D.C. is one of the most dangerous cities in the world. This despite police data showing that violence.
Okay, so first of all, let me just say this about Pam Bondi saying that it's Liberation Day. Let's give it up. Let's give it up. Let's give it up. Let's give it up for the Trump administration trying to liberate these woke left blue cities. I grew up in a blue city. Some of you know my story and some of you don't, but I grew up in a blue city. And so to hear that somebody's coming in to do something, boots on the ground, as they love to say, right? As this, it's a whole nother video, a whole nother review for another day. The Sarah Jakes Roberts is her name, and her boots on the ground that she brought into the church. But anyway, actual boots on the ground, the left is going to hate it. The blue left-leaning woke social justice warriors are going to hate it. Actual boots on the ground. This is actual boots on the ground, actually trying to clean up the filth, the crime, the dumpster fires of these blue woke left-leaning cities. So let's hear some more. Of course, as you can hear, they're going to try to push their narrative. They're going to try to say, oh no, the stats are saying. So let's continue on listening to the nonsense.
Violent crime has been trending down for a second year in a row.
This issue directly impacts the functioning of the federal government and is a threat to America. Really, it's a threat to our country. We have other cities also that are bad, very bad. You look at Chicago, how bad it is. You look at Los Angeles, how bad it is. We have other cities that are very bad. New York has a problem. And then you have, of course, Baltimore and Oakland. We don't even mention that anymore. They're so far gone. We're not going to let it happen. We're not going to lose our cities over this. And this will go further. We're starting very strongly with DC, and we're going to clean it up real quick, very quickly, as they say. You'll have more police, and you'll be so happy.
So as we know, that the people who are harmed the most are those that live in the inner city. But for those that are brainwashed in those places, so it's a mixture. You have those that are living in these cities that understand the warfare that they're in, the attack that they're under. But then you have those that are still brainwashed and they're committed to a narrative of Trump, orange man bad, and they're not going to tell the truth about the fact that this is actually a good thing. So we saw this with the whole defund the police movement, where they wanted us to believe that that the police are bad, but really the people that get harmed when the police are removed, when there is no law and order, are the people that look like this. So anyway, so we are going to keep going. I just wonder if my broadcast is coming through. So I'm just trying to, oh my goodness, my Lord God. So I'm just trying to find the recording somewhere. Let's see if I can find it on my channel. Okay, I see it coming through. And I just wonder, can you hear it? Okay, I see it coming through. Okay, so we might have a little echo for a minute, just because I'm trying to test out my sound here. So let's keep going.
Be safe. When you walk down the street, you're going to see police, or you're going to see FBI agents. We're going to have a lot of agents on the street. You're going to have a lot of essentially military, and we will bring in the military if it's needed, by the way.
More than 800 National Guard members will be activated. A spokesperson for the U.S. Army says most of the troops live locally and will likely be deployed in shifts of about 200 soldiers each, starting later this week.
Okay, again, I just have to jump in and say, woo, 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 woo. This is what we voted for. This is what we voted for. Clean up the streets. Clean up the streets. I think we're going to watch another video where they're chanting all this stuff against Trump. But I just want to start a chant that says, clean up the streets. Clean up the streets. Clean up the crime. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with this woman, Beverly Beatty. I just remember back somewhere in that 2020 era and time where she went to DC, and she was a big Trump supporter. Now she ended up getting locked up based on Biden's administration. They made sure she went to jail and got convicted because she's a pro-life activist, and she would protest outside of the Planned Parenthood abortion clinics. And so they made sure they got her locked up. They prosecute her and all those things. But before that, it was this one incident where she went to DC and she got stabbed. Just walking the streets of DC, just visiting the city. Some teenagers, like 3 teenagers, attacked her and jumped her, the people that she was with, and stabbed her and I think another guy that she was with. So, I mean, who wants to be in DC? And then for it to be the place where our national treasures are, where our president lives, where all these governmental buildings and agencies and historic places are. It's one of the worst cities in our country. And who would have ever thought that anybody would have stepped up to do anything about this? So this is absolutely amazing. This is wonderful. This is good news. Out of anything that Trump has done now, I think that how he's cleaning up the border is great. But this right here, this is actually wonderful. This is good. This, again, the people that suffer the most are the people that live in the inner city. Those are the ones. It's plenty of people that can't go outside in DC after the street lights come on. Grown adult people can't go outside. You can't be free. You can't just live your life and walk down the streets in DC. The most famous story I can think of is somebody that went to DC to visit DC, was just hanging out in DC and got stabbed. That's the connection that I have to DC. I remember going there and just seeing the homeless people. In certain cities you go through, if you travel through the country, there's certain cities, all you're going to see is homeless people everywhere. All you're going to see is just dirt and just filth. It just looks like New York City is one of those places. DC is one of those places. Philadelphia is one of those places. All these, it just looks like you're walking through a dumpster. These cities are dumpster fires. These cities are awful. They're horrible, nothing but crime. You're not safe to walk the streets there. But yet you're going to hear these Democrats protesting and coming against the fact of somebody stepping in to say, let's do something about this. So anyway, let's keep going.
Main duty will be to support federal agents, many of whom have already been deployed to this city. Officials with the Drug Enforcement Administration have started clearing homeless campsites, while 120 FBI agents have been authorized to work various shifts. A senior law enforcement official tells NBC News that number is expected to rise in the coming days. The president is able to take over D.C.'s Metropolitan Police Department for up to 30 days under the city's Home Rule Act.
Now, I just have to talk about this lady. I mean, talk about flip-flopper, because I'm hearing different reports about her. This mayor, I believe she's the mayor of DC. Yeah, she's such a flip-flopper, because on one hand, in the back scenes, in the back room, she's thanking Trump that he's coming in and doing what he's doing. Now you see this report, the Washington Post, saying that she's calling the takeover of DC Police Department unsettling and unprecedented. On one hand, she's secretly happy that Trump is stepping up and doing the job that she couldn't get done. She couldn't make her streets safe, but now she has to have the federal government come in and make the streets safe. And so she's really grateful. She's really happy because she's seen and heard. She knows the crime reports. She knows the statistics. She knows what's going on, that it's really, really bad there. It's really awful. I mean, especially these teenagers that are running around in the streets between DC, Chicago, all these places, the teens that are, the crimes that are committed. Like I said, this girl, Beverly Beatty, that got stabbed by the teens. It was another story where this teen just got on a bus. They had the video camera of this kid getting on the bus and took out another kid right there on the film in front of all the other kids on the bus. I mean, it's always something there. You cannot be safe walking the streets in that place. It's been crime after crime after crime. It's so much crime that runs rampant in these cities. But it's just funny to me because she's like, oh, it's this is the narrative. This is the propaganda that they push, right? She's gotta toe the wagon. She's got to toe the line of the Democratic Party. So she's gonna publicly say, oh, this is unsettling and unprecedented. But in the back room, she's secretly saying, thank you, Trump. Thank you, Trump, for fixing this mess. Right. So anyway, let's keep going.
The first time a president has done so. Democratic Mayor Muriel Bowser expressed her disappointment yesterday, but also made it clear she plans to comply with the order.
When it came time to take things.
So, of course, she plans to comply with the order because she's in agreement with the order. She knows that this is a good thing that Trump is doing. She knows it.
Unprecedented. I can't say that given some of the rhetoric of the past that we're totally surprised. My tenor will be appropriate for what I think is important for the district. And what's important for the district is that we can take care of our citizens. And if people are concerned about a president's ability to have the MPD police department be responsive to the Department of Justice, the time to address that is when we're talking about statehood for DC. If people are concerned about the president being able to move the National Guard into our city, the time to do that would have been when the Congress had a bill that it could have given control of the DC National Guard to DC.
Now, in response to President Trump's federal takeover of the
So basically what she's saying is, when we lost the election. Oh, you didn't vote right. Okay, she's crying and whining over that. All right, let's keep going.
city's law enforcement was immediate. DC residents took to the streets yesterday to protest the president's announcements.
Now, this is my favorite part. I'm sorry. So you're going to get a lot of laughing out of me. I'm sorry. I need to learn how to reel it in and not just laugh my butt off on the fact that these people are out here protesting against their streets being safe. They're protesting for the criminals. They're protesting saying, let the criminals and the crime run free. Let these killers loose. Let the rapists rape. Let the child molesters. Okay, sorry. I know this is YouTube. Let me be careful. Let the criminals do whatever they want to do. Pretty much, basically, is what I'm hearing here. But this is my favorite part. So let's hear these protests. I love the chants. So I'm going to try to interject some chants of my own. This should be fun. Let's do it. So
while city and state leaders from across the country also criticized the decision. The Democratic Mayors Association released a statement that reads in part, quote, "If Trump actually cared about our communities, he would be working with our cities, not against them. But the truth is, Trump doesn't care. He only wants to create yet another political charade to serve his own interests and distract Americans from his failures."
So basically, what they're saying is that we actually don't care about our communities, because if we cared about our communities, we'd be working together with the president, not against him. But the truth is that we don't care. We only want to create yet another political charade to serve our own interests and distract Americans from our failures. They could just flip that whole statement around and tell the truth. The truth is that they're the ones that don't care, because all these years, this is how it's been in these blue cities. It's been this level of crime. It's been nothing but just dilapidated buildings, degradation, just horrible, horrific atrocities, nothing good coming out of these cities. And so they've never done anything to clean up the cities. And now someone's stepping in to do something, and all they can do is complain about it, because it's showing the fact that they don't care. That's what they're really mad about. So let's keep going with this nonsense.
Meanwhile, Maryland Governor Wes Moore responded to President Trump's idea of extending the security measures to Baltimore, writing, quote, "We've achieved among the most impressive drops in violent crime anywhere in the country over the past 2.5 years. We await outreach from the White House if they want to have a serious conversation about public safety, but we won't hold our breath."
So, what's kind of funny to me? So they're toting their statistics and stats saying, oh, this is the lowest it's been in the past 2 years. It's so low right now, the crime. But to me, it's the equivalent of if you had, and I'm just going to even put it on a really small scale. Let's say if it was 10,000 crimes that were committed, right? And so now from 10,000, they went down to 9,000 crimes, right? And they're like, oh, it's dropped. It's low now. You still got 9,000 to go. Oh, leave us alone. It's so low. It's still bad. It's still bad, sir. So I don't care if it is a little tiny dip that has happened, because maybe people have moved out, so the criminals have no one to target. I don't know. We don't know what's behind the stats that they're trying to present, because we can know that they can make these numbers say whatever they want them to say. But all we know is that it's still bad. It's still pretty bad. It's not anything for you to toot your horn about and act like you've done so much better and it's so good right now. It's not. It's really not. So, anywho, let's keep going.
And Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker argued the Constitution would stop Trump from sending troops to Chicago.
It's not surprising to me that he suggests violating the law. He's done it many times and been convicted of it 34 times.
What's so funny too? I'm sorry, I just have to keep interjecting. What's also funny is how they always bring up this quote unquote, this fake conviction that he has of the 34 counts. But just because their crimes haven't come to light, just because they're in the good old boys camp and that we don't know what their corruption is exactly, doesn't mean that they're not crooked and corrupt. Okay. So this guy especially, he just, oh my goodness, he rubs me the wrong way. It doesn't make any sense. So he just always on the wrong side of anything that happens. This is the same guy that stood by while this ghetto ratchet mayor ran the city of Dalton into the ground. And so he's just sitting back while she's throwing gold microphones and bashing people upside their head and jumping into fights, and would do nothing to step in and try to intervene in that situation. So this guy, to me, he's just always on the wrong side of history. So anyway, let's keep going.
So I would just say he has absolutely no right and no legal ability to.
And what you notice is that all they can do is talk about Trump, but they're not talking about their failures. He's not talking about his failure as a governor. This other woman, this mayor Bowser, she's not talking about her failures as a mayor, even though these people keep reelecting these people because they're brainwashed and something's wrong with them in the head, and they can't put two and two together to figure out that these people are part of the problem. But that's all they can do is just focus on what Trump is actually trying to do here, where he's trying to bring in something good. No, they just want to hyper focus on the fact that it's Trump, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if Trump brought in the cure for cancer. It's Trump. So we can't just celebrate anything that he's doing or saying or admit that he's doing something good or right? All it's about is just Democrats wanting to stay in power. So it is what it is.
Send troops in to the city of Chicago.
In contrast to statements like that, law enforcement seems to have a more positive view of the president's actions. Chairman of the D.C.
So let me guess. Let me see. The people who are actually the boots on the ground, who are dealing with this stuff every day, the law enforcement officials who are, when they had the whole things with the ICE agents and people are throwing stuff at them and attacking them. Oh, these people are actually happy that this is happening. I wonder why that is. But these elected officials are sitting back saying how bad, Orange Man bad. But yet, the police and the law officers, the law enforcement has a positive view of this. Go figure that.
Union that represents thousands of officers in the Metropolitan Police Department expressed support for the move while stressing any action from the White House should be temporary. He also argued against the crime statistics from the department in a phone interview with NBC, saying that officers are skewing their reports to manipulate violent crime numbers.
Oh, wow. Did I not just say that earlier in the video, that they can make these numbers say anything they want them to say? And here we have somebody admitting, this guy, Greg Pemberton, the Fraternal Order of Police, the DC Fraternal Order of Police, is he like the leader or something of them? He's admitting it. And I said that already, that they can make these numbers. So when they're touting these statistics, trying to make it seem like crime is low, trying to make it look good, it's not the case. It's a lie, right? And now we have somebody that admits it. He said, our members are told on the scene, on the front end of these, when we go to take the report, lieutenants and captains basically order us to take reports for lesser offenses. You're taking a report that the incident, I can't even see what this says. Yeah, I have something over top of that. The, what is it called? The closed caption. Let me take that off. So he says, you're taking a report that the incident occurred, but not properly classifying them. I see this all the time. All you got to do is watch an episode of Cops or any of these law shows, these law and safety and crime and all these things that are on YouTube nowadays. You see it all the time where these people commit these heinous acts. And then when they get to the end, they say they were charged with like these lesser offenses than what they actually were charged with. They always try to cut them a break and give them a chance and do all this stuff. And they don't really accurately say what the person did. We watched it on a video. We're sitting up here watching the whole thing play out on their body cam, but yet they're telling us that, oh, they were only charged with this, that, and the third. We see that all the time happen and play out in these videos of the body cams that come out in these different, we have a lot of YouTubers now that highlight some of the police activity that goes on across the country. And it's pretty obvious and clear that this is happening, right? So anyway, I just want to say hi, please say hi in the comments if you're here. I want to say welcome. I want to just give a shout out to anybody that might be in the chat. So let's keep going. This is just, it's all coming out in this video. This
newly confirmed U.S. Attorney for D.C., Jeanine Pirro, also spoke about the need to crack down on crime in D.C.
You're not going to believe what happened. Tell me everything.
Okay, what's kind of funny too is how Trump has really changed and moved the needle of the news media, because now we see them at least try like they never have before. They never really tried to show a balance, right? They never really told the truth. It wasn't until Trump came along and started calling them fake news that now they're trying to report things the way they actually happen. Now they're trying to tell the truth. Like, yeah, they told that horrible side and all the lies of the Democrats and their narratives and their agenda, but now here they go showing the other side of the man, saying these numbers aren't right. Right now, they're trying to tell the truth. Now they're giving a different perspective. Now they're trying to balance it out. But it wasn't until Trump stepped on the scene and started calling them out for their junk that they actually changed course.
DC Council, one member of whom I just indicted recently, and we've got to make this place safe for the people in the district. The message is, if you want to commit a crime, do it in DC, because they're not going to solve the case. Bring in someone younger to commit the crime, and we'll end up letting you go because the U.S. attorney can't get her hands on you.
On Capitol Hill, reaction was split along party lines. Republican lawmakers cheered the move on social media. Senate Majority Leader, John Thune of South Dakota called it a positive step. And House Speaker Mike Johnson spoke for his entire caucus, saying House Republicans support this effort. Senate Minority Leader, Democratic Chuck Schumer of New York, called out Republicans for supporting the president's order, implying they were hypocritical. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries was more blunt in his response, telling the president to, quote, get lost. Someone who should not get lost is joining us now, White House reporter for the Associated Press. You like that, yes. Darlene? Was that a good transition? Yes. Darlene Superville, thank you so much, Darlene. I appreciate it. All right, you were in the press conference yesterday with Donald Trump. Give us a sense of what it was like in that room.
Oh, my gosh. The room was packed, well beyond packed that I've ever seen it before. I have an assigned seat in the front row, and I had to push through a crush of people to get to my seat. And the president came out, and interestingly enough, one of the first things he said was, oh, you know, I've never seen so many people in this room, and segued to, that's why we need a ballroom.
I am the prize, Donald Trump. Obviously, he's been talking about taking over D.C. He's been criticizing the city for its crime for years now. Mm-hmm. Crime is, of course, dropping from its heights in 2023, relative heights, I should say, in 2023. Why did he make the move at this point, do you think?
I think the short answer is because he can. And as
you know what else is so kind of funny that you're noticing now since, you know, I wouldn't say initially, because initially they are going to be who they are and they're going to come at Trump. But it seems like there's a tone that's shifting now with the rhetoric. Like, again, they're trying to appear, at least they're trying to appear more balanced in their reporting than ever before. Like even her making this little joke about what Trump said when he came out about, oh, that's why we need a ballroom. Like they're trying to make it a little lighthearted because they're realizing that this is more than half of the country that are in support of a lot of these policies that Trump is bringing in. And they're realizing that they've lost. It's a losing battle to keep coming at him and making him into the villain when he's actually putting in good things in place that they have to keep. In some ways, many of the Democrats have to keep up their narrative, but some of them are softening their tone. So especially in the reporter pool and world, you hear like a lighter tone and a lighter, like I watch, what is this news place, News Nation. And I just remember it being so leaning left, like they tried to present themselves as if they weren't biased, but you can see all the bias that was coming through. And now they really are working so hard to try to balance things out. It's not even funny because they recognize it's a losing strategy. They don't have the ratings. People are fleeing their stations. Nobody wants to watch it when you're just constantly spewing lies. You're constantly pushing your propaganda. You're constantly pushing your agenda. You're pretending like this man is not working hard for the country, doing everything he can to try to make it a better place. You can do all that, but people have seen through that now. So they recognize they have to move where the needle is moving, where things are shifting. So they can't keep up this charade. So anyway, let's keep going.
As you say, we've seen this from him already. And I think what he announced yesterday certainly was not a surprise. He had already been on social media over the weekend and even the week before, talking about increasing the federal law enforcement presence in D.C. and mentioned a couple of times about threats about potentially taking over the city or the police department. And we saw this already with L.A., where he sent the National Guard in and Marines into Los Angeles after there were some immigration protests there. So it's just a continuation, I think, of his just wanting to be in control of more and more and more of the country and cities and that sort of thing.
It does seem a little bit like he's testing how far he can push it. I mean, there was notable that
So of course they have to try to throw the subtle jabs in there. Oh, it's him wanting to be in control. Is it him wanting to be in control, or is it him wanting safe streets for America? Just like any person, especially parents, if you have children, you want your children to be able to walk through safe streets. You yourself want to be able to walk through safe streets. You want to not be able to worry that every time you walk down the street that some violent criminal is going to jump up and run up on you and attack you. You want to be able to walk down the street, or let your children walk down the street, let your family walk down the street, have kids be able to play outside. You want that to be a thing again. We want to make America safe again. I believe it was one of his campaign promises. So what is the problem? What is wrong with safety? What is wrong with law and order? But what do? They try to throw their little jabs in there. And she's like, oh, he just wants to be more in control. What is wrong with getting control of the crime? Why is it that the Democrats go harder for the criminals than they do for the everyday law-abiding American, the everyday American citizen that's trying to do the right thing, go to work every day, pay their taxes, take care of their family? Why is it that the Democrats are so bent on shrilling for these people that are committing the crimes? They love themselves a good criminal. It's amazing. It's really something to behold.
he said Baltimore, Oakland, Chicago, they may be next.
Right. He did mention those cities, and he did say that many of those cities are watching what he's doing, what he's doing, because
don't mix pink salt with lemon and 2 other ingredients if you don't.
Will take steps, in his words, to self-clean up and maybe forestall him sending troops into the
preemptive action to prevent him from sending in the National Guard. We'll see.
We'll see.
All right. President Trump has announced, meanwhile, plans to nominate a longtime skeptic of the Bureau of Labor Statistics as the new head of the agency.
So I'm going to probably stop with that video right there. I am going to see what other coverage that they're giving this when it comes to, even when you look at the title, Democrat governor slams Trump's DC police takeover, right? Even their thumbnails, their titles, it's so skewed. It's just so skewed. Here you go. I don't want to know what to call her, this Rainbow Skittles lady who is Rainbow Skittles lady, Rachel Maddow, that's talking about, oh, it's not about crime. So anyway, and now you have Al Sharpton over here talking about it's race baiting. Race baiting. Al Sharpton is saying that somebody else, he's accusing someone else of race baiting. I'm sorry. I gotta laugh. So let's read some of the comments in this video. Let's see. It says most of America is 13% sure where the problem lies. I can't stand them for that. That's horrible. It's about time. We've been waiting since 2021 for Trump to send the National Guard. I guess this time he's worried about the angry mob coming after him. Maybe it meant he's not worried. So anyway, so this is obviously a Trump hater on that one. Let's see. I saw the guy who almost got killed getting carjacked. Sometimes you have to say enough. The mayor reminds me of the mayor in Jaws, the movie. The president trying to protect the citizens from crime is wrong, according to some actual objectors. Somebody said, Mayor, this is the mayor point of view. How dare you try to clean up my mess? If the Democrats are screaming, crying, whining, that means they are looking good for the country. What? I don't understand. Weird. No mention of the most dangerous cities in the U.S. Wonder why? I think it's one thing at a time, one city at a time. So right now we're focused on DC, and maybe he'll go on a world tour. Maybe he'll go on a countrywide tour to clean up the mess of all the places. He actually did name some other ones. They talked about Chicago, and they interviewed the Chicago governor and all those things. Not Chicago, I'm sorry, Illinois. The Illinois governor, they interviewed him, and of course he was pushing his rhetoric. So yeah, he is talking about going to the other places. Of course they do. They are for criminals, not law and order. So of course they're against it. Exactly. This is my sentiment. Of course the Democrats are going to be against this. They are not for law and order, the everyday citizen. They are for criminals. If they cannot do their job, bring in the National Guard. It's that simple. Judge denies Trump request to unseal grand jury material in the Ghislaine Maxwell case. Those people that are homeless and not criminals should be given the opportunity to get jobs in factories that are open. Maybe they will. You never know. These reporters are pathetic. No certain body parts whatsoever to tell it like it is. Captain. Okay. So anyway, move all of the government out of DC. That would be more of a blessing for the government probably to get out of that crime-ridden, drug-infested place than it would be, I think, for the people. Let's see. Said, "Morning, Joe. I can't believe it's still in the air." So these are some of the comments that people are saying in the comments of that video. So let's keep going. Let's see what else we're going to look at here today when it comes to it was another one I saw of them protesting. I wanted to tackle. Let's see if we find it. Okay, well, that's the one I already watched. Was it this one? Let's check out this.
Just one more screenshot.
We're learning more about President Trump's plans after federalizing the Washington, D.C. police force and deploying the National Guard to crack down on crime in the city. Let's get to ABC 10's Jay Struberg, who joins us now with complete details about what's happening. Jay?
Yeah, good morning, Walt. President Trump ordering hundreds of National Guardsmen to take over policing in Washington, D.C., saying we could see them in the streets of D.C. in the coming weeks. The president declaring a public safety emergency in D.C., saying crime is spiraling out of control, but his depiction stands in stark contrast to the official figures, which show crime in the capital is actually declining. Violent crime recently hitting a 30-year low, down 26% since last year. Burglary down 19%.
Again, like I told you, they can make the numbers whatever they want to make it because they're skewing it. They're not reporting accurately the actual charges of these people. They're giving them lesser offenses. They're not charging them properly. So all of that weighs into these crime statistics, on top of the fact that you're getting a percentage. They're not telling us the actual numbers of what the actual numbers are. So if it's a percentage of 1 million, if it's only less than 30% of 1 million, that's still quite a hefty number to still tackle. So they're acting like because it's down that it's not still a problem. Even if their numbers were accurate and right, which we don't really believe that they are, then it's still high enough that what Trump is doing is warranted. So I digress.
18%. Murder down 12%.
I think my first reaction was that I've seen this movie before. I think that this is an unnecessary show of force in search of.
Guess what? We all voted for this movie. So we like this movie. We think this movie is good. You're not really a good critic of the movie. We can tell that by the wig that you chose for this interview. So anyway, it's not funny. I don't think you know what you're talking about, lady, but that's just my opinion.
The problem. Crime is down in D.C. by double digits.
Trump has the power to deploy federal agents in D.C. for an emergency, but experts say Congress would need to approve any federal control of the district beyond 30 days. Meantime, across D.C., peaceful protesters held banners that read national disgrace, others chanting Trump must go now. And this morning, the president is threatening similar deployment in other cities.
So guess what? Guess what the national disgrace is? The national disgrace is that D.C., the city that the White House is in, that our president lives, where our president lives, where the Congress is, where the Senate is, where all these important actions go on every day, that this is the national disgrace, the city itself. So while they're calling the president the national disgrace, they should be disgraced by their own city, by the crime, by the dilapidation, by all that goes on there. That's what should be the national disgrace. That's what is the national disgrace, but they're too blinded by their own political outrage to recognize or see that.
Saying the model in the nation's capital could be used to combat crime in cities like Chicago, Oakland, and Baltimore, all cities notably in Democratic-led states. Now, two Democratic lawmakers say they plan to reintroduce legislation that would grant D.C. full control of their National Guard and police department. They plan to bring the legislation up when Congress reconvenes in September, Walt.
Okay, Jay, thank you for all that, updating us on what's happening nationally, coast to coast.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation platform made for anyone with
guns were seized off of District of Columbia streets as part of last night's effort. This is only the beginning.
One day after invoking the Home Rule Act, declaring that crime is out of control in the nation's capital, and the crackdown is underway, despite pushback from DC's mayor.
Our capital city has been overtaken by violent gangs and bloodthirsty criminals, roving mobs of wild youth, drugged out maniacs and homeless people. And we're not going to let it happen anymore. We're not going to take it.
President Trump has taken federal control of the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department and ordered 800 National Guard troops to the nation's capital.
I think I speak for all Americans. We don't believe it's legal to use the American military against American citizens on American soil.
So again, like I said earlier, that this woman right here, she's secretly thanking Trump. She's secretly saying hallelujah, while publicly saying, how dare you come and clean up my mess, Trump. So publicly, because she's a Democrat, she has to still toe the line of the Democratic Party and pretend like this is not a good thing that's happening for her in her city. But I want to say that I think some Democrats deep down in their heart, they know the right thing to do. I think this lady is one of them. And so she's just kind of toting the line, and she has to say these things politically and pretend, but she knows the truth, because it's kind of a mixed bag with her, where she's, coming out and saying, on one hand, she's saying, oh, this is so horrible what Trump is doing. On another hand, she's actually thanking Trump. So yeah, let's keep going.
I'm not a lawyer.
Had Mr. Trump been threatening to intervene in the policing of, say, Chicago, then Ms. Bowser's assertion of sorts may have had some merit. But the Constitution establishes the District of Columbia as a federal enclave. So there's no abuse of power in Congress and the president exercising authority over it.
This issue directly impacts the functioning of the federal government and is a threat to America. Really, it's a threat to our country.
These days, DC largely governs itself using delegated powers, but the law preserves presidential control of the police during emergencies, generally up to 30 days, after which he would need congressional approval.
We look forward to working alongside the Metropolitan Police Department, and we did that last night successfully, and we hope we can do that for the next 29 nights.
Whose city? Our city! Whose city? Our city!
I believe.
It's funny that they're like, whose city? Our city. Your city sucks. Your city has crime. Your city is going down in the tubes. Your city is bad. Nobody wants to come to your city. Your city, people can't go to your city unless they're armed with a firearm, unless they're Second Amendment people are the only people that can walk the streets of your city safe. So while they're chanting and cheering and pretending like this is a great place to go, people there are scared. People there do not want to walk outside at night alone by themselves. It's horrible in these blue, woke, left-leaning, Democrat-led and run controlled cities. It's not a safe place to go. It's not a happy place to be. But they're standing up here and acting like this is such, oh, it's so wonderful. I want any of them to be outside at night. I want any of them to hang outside at night when the sun goes down. Because right now they're out there protesting in this daylight. But half of these people that are out there, they probably shut down this protest as soon as the sun went down. Right? So they're, whose city? Our city. Guess what? Your city sucks. So anyway, let's keep going and hear the nonsense.
That the president's view of DC is shaped by his COVID era experience during his first term.
Speaking during a press conference the same day as Mr. Trump's announcement, DC's mayor said that following the pandemic in 2023, there was indeed a crime spike in the nation's capital, but that had been reversed.
This year, crime isn't just down from 2023. It's also down from 2019, before the pandemic, and we're at a 30-year violent crime low.
Again, it would be equivalent to, let me see, if you weigh 300 pounds and let's say you lose 20, you still got a lot of weight to go. I'm just saying. They're making it sound like, oh, it's down. It's so low. You're still fat. Okay. If you weigh 300 pounds and you lose 20, they've lost 20%, 30% of the crime. Guess what? You're still a fat woman, and it's not over until the fat lady sings. So Trump has some work he still has to do. You have some work you have to do, Lady Bowser, whatever your name is, that you're not doing. And so you're really mad because Trump is coming in to do something that you should have did a long time ago. So it's cracking me up that they keep pushing these numbers that we know are skewed, numbers that we know that they're not accurately reporting, that they force the police officer and the law enforcement to categorize these crimes as something else. We already have certain law enforcement officials coming out and making these statements saying that they've been pushed to put the numbers and make it look a certain way, and they can make those numbers look any way they want to make them look. So we don't believe you, Bowser. We don't believe you that it's so low and it's so great right now. That's not the case. So let's keep going.
Violent crime low, as Bowser called it, so presumably no emergency. But 187 people were murdered last year and more than 1,000 assaulted with a dangerous weapon.
Did you guys hear that? 187 murders, 1,000 assaulted with dangerous weapons. But it's down. It's a 30-year low. So if you listen to this lady, right, and this man hadn't come in, which I don't know what his background is. I don't know what stance he has. But if he hadn't came in and gave the actual numbers, I said that earlier in the video today. I said, what are the actual numbers, not these percentages? Because this is how they hide the truth. They just say it's this percent, it's down that percent. But what are the actual numbers that's behind the percentage? And even then, even that, they're not accurately reporting these crimes. So we really don't truly have a true accurate picture. And that's not even mentioning the crimes that haven't even been caught up on the radar just yet. There are things that have happened that haven't come to the light yet. So there's lots of hidden crimes that we don't know about, number one. Number two, we know they're skewing the numbers. We've had law enforcement officials come out and admit that. Number three, if you're 300 pounds and you lose 20, you're still fat. Number four, the list goes on. So let's keep going.
It's hardly a reassuring baseline.
The murder rate in Washington today is higher than that of Bogota, Colombia, Mexico City, some of the places that you hear about as being the worst places on earth, much higher. This is much higher.
Crime in the district is out of control, and we're going call to call for armed carjacking, stabbings, robberies, shootings, homicides.
I think it's something that is doable. We know that we have to get illegal guns off of our street.
Asked what she thought about the suggestion that violent crime was down in the nation's capital, and the newly appointed U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia hit back.
You tell the mother of the intern who was shot going out for McDonald's near the Washington Convention Center, oh, crime is down. No, that falls on deaf ears. And my ears are deaf to that. and that's why I fight the fight.
But while cracking down on crime is a worthy cause, by getting involved in DC governance, Mr. Trump is setting a precedent that the next Democratic president could follow with other priorities.
We know that access to our democracy is tenuous. That is why you have heard me and many Washingtonians before me advocate for full statehood for the District of Columbia.
It was during 2023's murder surge that President Biden signed a congressional resolution which nullifies the revised Criminal Code Act of 2022, enacted by the Council of the District of Columbia. That included a reduction in the maximum penalty for carjacking and illegal gun possession. The vote in Congress included dozens of Democratic ayes. One was Minnesota Representative Angie Craig, who'd been assaulted in an elevator at her DC apartment building. Another was Texas Representative Henry Cuellar, who later that year was carjacked at gunpoint.
Protect home rule. Protect.
It's, you don't wish any of these things, even if they're Democrat. I don't wish these bad things on these lawmakers and these officials. But I mean, it almost comes across like a poetic justice. I mean, come on now. Like, they're the ones that are pushing all these false narratives, and they're the ones pushing for defund the police, and they're the ones, and yet here they are. They become themselves the victim of crime. And so it's something about that it doesn't get lost on me that here it is that these officials themselves living in the city of DC, or at least working there every day if they don't live there, are now become the victims of the violent crime. And like Judge Janine said, you tell somebody who's the victim of the crime that crime is down. They don't want to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that. If you're 300, I'm gonna keep going back to my analogy. You're 300 pounds, you lost 20 pounds, you're still fat. You're still 280 pounds rather. Yeah, I'm thinking in my mind, you lose 30 pounds because they were like, yeah, somewhere between 20 and 30% down. They're saying that the crime is, you're still fat. I'm going to keep going back to that analogy, but let's keep going.
Home rule.
On the whole, local control of DC looks like a failure. The city has enshrined non-citizen voting in local elections and so-called sanctuary policies to prevent federal immigration enforcement.
So do you hear that? This is a city that has pushed for, I think he said enshrined the non-citizen voting, and they're also made themselves a sanctuary city for the illegal immigration. But yet you have some of the highest crime rates than other places in the country. I wonder if there's a connection there. So we kind of see, that this is an issue. This is a problem that they're not willing to admit the truth. And this is why I can't help but come back into the political sphere and start talking about this stuff again, because if you ever want entertainment, sit back and watch a Democrat. Sit back and watch the Democratic Party. They are pure entertainment. They are pure nonsense. The hypocrisy, the entertainment, it makes no sense. Like, they actually lie to your face with a straight face and want you to believe what they're telling you. They want to be able to pee on your leg and tell you that it's raining and you believe it. They are the true original gaslighters of America. America has been gaslit since before you were even born. And so this Democratic Party will have you believe that they care about you, that they care about the everyday American citizen, that the police are bad, that it's all these narratives that they push, that Trump is a big, bad dictator and he's the bad guy, he's the villain, and that these illegal immigrants, they're just asylum seekers, and they're looking for a better life, and they're innocent, and they don't commit any crimes, and all of these things. You can't trust anything that the Democrats tell you. You just really can't. So
why on earth should President Trump and Congress stand for this in America's seat of government?
We're starting very strongly with DC, and we're going to clean it up real quick. And then we'll look at other cities also.
And to that we say, whoo, breath of fresh air, breath of fresh air. This is the part out of anything that Trump could come in and do, that the Trump administration could come in and do. This is one of the parts that I've been waiting for. I'm like a kid at the dinner table, and it's like, feed me now, right? You're banging on the table, feed me now. I want food, right? And so this is the part, in my opinion. Well, it's some other good things he's done as far as like, I know that nobody agrees with the fact that he's appointed Paula White to the office of the office of faith that he set up in the government. I know they're not happy about that, but the fact that he has a heart to protect religious freedoms in this country, that is also a good thing. But now this part about cleaning up these Democratic blue cities, this is why I left. For over 14 years ago, I left the Democratic left-leaning blue city called Philadelphia, PA, where I was born and raised. I escaped there and came into the red state and live here in Florida. This is why I made that move and that jump, because of this right here, this topic, this crime, the crime that are in these cities. It's ridiculous. All the crimes that I personally, one person alone, in the bigger, broader context of a country of millions and billions of people, that I have experienced as much crime, become a victim of as much crime as I was a victim of living in those blue cities. So this part right here is very near and dear to my heart. And I want to say, good job. Thank you, Mr. Trump. Thank you, President Trump, for all that you're doing. Good job. You have plenty of supporters out here who are happy at what you're doing. And so, yeah, we're fed up. A lot of people are fed up with the way things have been for so long. And we're not going to take it anymore. And we're actually happy that Trump is stepping in to do some of these things. So we're going to keep on going. I want to see this video that's talking about law enforcement mobilizes in DC with mixed feelings. Let's see what they're talking about. Okay. So that was definitely mixed.
Welcome to Washington Examiner's Rewind. I'm Michael Anthony Moore, and here's one of the biggest stories of the week. Are you someone personally impacted by DC crime? Well, President Donald Trump's invocation to federalize the DC police force sits well with many DC residents.
It helps. It put fear. And
you think fear is a driving factor to stop crime?
And look, if anybody who a criminal who's been in the jail system knows, the feds don't play.
Of course, there's mixed feelings on the federal takeover. This protest makes it clear that some Americans are focused on the optics.
We are, in fact, not in a crisis of violence. We are a nationwide crisis of violence, but we're no different than any other city. I think the federal government has no business interjecting themselves in local and district government. We are not even a state.
What do you think about Trump's actions?
There is a time for National Guard, but this is not it.
For more information on this story.
So basically what you're hearing her say is that if someone comes up to rob her, don't do anything. Don't stop it. Just, if someone comes up and hits her upside her head right now while she's in the interview, don't try to protect her, because they're just like any other city. She's saying it's okay because crime is other places. So that makes it okay for crime to continue to run rampant in DC as well. So I understand that. I understand. She doesn't want the crime to stop. You just have to enjoy and just sit back. It's just so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. It's just so ridiculous what they the fact that they're against safe streets. They are against crime being down. The mayor is like, how dare you clean up my mess? They're out here yelling and screaming about Trump trying to clean up DC. I mean, it just doesn't get any more, in a sense, hilarious than that. It's like, for the people who have been the victims of the crime, It's like, don't do anything to help these people. Don't come in here and try to fix things, Trump. We want to hate you, so we don't want you to do anything good. That's basically what it's giving me. It's kind of coming off as they don't really care. It's just, we have to be right. We just have to be right. So what are your thoughts? What say you in this matter about Trump sending in the National Guard to take over DC? What do you think about this? I personally, like I said, this is the part I've been waiting for. I think it's actually a good move. The crime in these blue Democratic cities is out of control. Nobody wants to admit, nobody wants to tell the truth about this, that this has been a problem for a long time, and you're not safe. You can't walk the streets anymore. The criminals have been emboldened. They have been supported. They have been coddled. They have been given cash-free bail. They have been bailed out by the likes of people like Kamala Harris. They have been, they've done everything to criminals except prosecute them and send them away for their crimes. They've done everything for criminals except for hold them accountable. And now you have somebody coming in that actually wants to do something good, that actually wants to try to clean up the mess that these Democrats have made, because these are Democratic blue cities where you see this more than anything. And I'm not saying that the red states are perfect, but you're seeing that crime be so much higher in these Democratic blue cities. You see how dilapidated the buildings and the areas and the ghettos, everything is horrible in these blue cities. It's worse than any other place. And so this is actually a good thing, but only the Democrats would lead you to believe that this is something bad. Only the Democrats will be caught out in the street protesting against crime being lowered. So what do you think? What do you say? I'm Epiphany Tanya. Thanks for watching. Until the next time, next video, peace.